I'm Joe Biden's husband. Just while you're on that note as well, if you're a big avid coffee drinker like me, or if you drink soft drinks, which is a can of worms in itself, I'll not go into, but they tend to be full of caffeine, and soft drinks tend to be full of sugar. So that causes a couple of issues if it's extremely hot weather and you're trying to train. So first of all, caffeine is a diuretic. Coffee makes you pee. Okay, it makes you go to the toilet, makes you lose moisture faster and more regularly. So you're going to be at a bit of a deficit there. The sugar in your soft drinks as well adds another problem, is that it hampers assimilation. So you're not going to get hydrated as well. So just a couple of other things to think about there. Stick to water basically. So the next issue that we need to think about is your mineral balance. Water seems like the obvious thing to do. Okay, drink lots of water. That seems obvious, and it is obvious, and it's a really important part, but it also brings an added problem, and that is mineral deficiencies. Bill Starr actually wrote a piece about training in the heat. It's been really interesting for me reading it and preparing for this, but I'm going to read a little segment out of it. It's in the CrossFit Journal, and he goes into quite a bit of detail about it, but he said most people are well aware of the importance of drinking lots of water in hot weather, but few understand that water alone is not enough. In fact, drinking high volumes of water can actually create nutritional deficiencies. Whenever you're sweating profusely, gulping down lots of water, you're rapidly flushing the water-soluble vitamins and minerals out of your body, specifically the B vitamin, vitamin C, and all the minerals. Without an adequate supply of these vitamins and minerals, your body cannot function properly. Most important are the minerals. Life itself depends on minerals. There are over 60 trillion cells in your body, and every one needs a wide array of minerals. Every cell is composed of 5% minerals. They are what propel and perpetuate the various metabolic processes, as well as provide structure and support for the cells. When they are not supplied in adequate amounts, muscles cannot contract maximally, and there is a general feeling of fatigue. Early warning signs that you're deficient in minerals include cramps, muscle tremors, lightheadedness, and extreme tiredness. The other two water-soluble vitamins are also essential for a solid workout. The Bs help convert the foods and you eat and drink into energy, so they're extremely valuable to anyone trying to get stronger. Vitamin C helps recovery and rebuilding, of course. Both do a great deal more than this, but a brief description is sufficient for the purpose of this article. My point: if you want to have a good training session, make sure you have a generous amount of these water-soluble vitamins and minerals throughout your workout, especially the minerals. Take all the minerals all these minerals together rather than separately, because they work together in a synergistic fashion. How many tablets should you take? It depends on how hot it is and on how much you sweat, as well as your individual requirements. Everyone has different needs in this regard. What you must do is listen to your body. It will inform you when you should take a couple more multiple mineral tablets. So that's really important. And there's lots of articles on the internet you can read about which ones that you need. I would say that calcium, magnesium are really important. So take a banana. If you want to take those through fruit, or whether you want to take them through tablets, that's up to you. Probably I would always recommend people eat proper food, but it needs a must. If you don't have them and you're trying to pack light or whatever, and you're trying to bring stuff to the gym and you want to get it into you, take it with you. Magnesium really helps with sleep. So there's different types of magnesium. I've been chatting about this recently with clients, but it's really important to help with sleep. So if you're struggling to sleep in the warmer nights, magnesium supplements can be useful as well, and there's something for you to think about and look into. One of the best things about water-soluble vitamins is that you can't really overdose on them. I know we chatted about somebody who overdosed on vitamin D recently, but it's very, very difficult to overdose on water-soluble vitamins and minerals, because you will pee them out. Your body will get rid of them unless you're really hell-bent on destroying yourself through vitamin mineral overdose. But one of the problems that lots of people have during hotter months is trying to maintain their body weight. So your appetite, you might notice your appetite goes down, and you don't really feel like eating. So that's another way that you're going to struggle to get minerals in. One great way to do it is through obviously through supplementation, vitamin supplementation and mineral supplementation, but also use protein shakes, protein milkshakes. Drink milk. Drinking is easier in hot weather than eating. You will feel like drinking when you don't feel like eating. So if you want to keep your weight up, you want to not lose weight, not lose strength, get on the protein shakes. Another really simple tip is your clothing. So make sure you're wearing nice loose cotton clothing, something that's going to be breathable, that's going to help your skin get some air to it, it's going to help get airflow to your skin. So it means wearing less or whatever. Do whatever feels comfortable. Okay, don't be putting on like hoodie and like tracky bottoms. Make sure like you're wearing shorts or something that you can actually get a little bit of airflow to your skin. But aside from that, is you're gonna sweat. Okay, that's just a given. You're gonna sweat. Sweating's healthy. Sweating's a good way. It's a way that your body helps to regulate its temperature. I worry about the people who don't sweat. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm self-conscious. I don't like. I'm a very sweaty person." I'm like, "That's good. That's a very healthy thing." So make sure that you are wearing clothes that are comfortable. But aside from that, bring a change of clothes. Bring a change of t-shirt if you need to. Another thing is compression shorts. Compression shorts, if you know, for men, for women, I don't really know much about women's compression shorts, but for men, they're a lifesaver. They're really good in hot weather. They feel better whenever you do sweat. They just feel better, and they dry out really quickly as well. But yeah, bring a change of t-shirt. That competition we did last week, the sun came out. We were running. We were doing burpees over a bale of straw, a bale of hay. I don't know what it was. It was tough anyway. But I brought a change of t-shirt, and I changed a couple of times, I think. But it was necessary, because after that your t-shirt was ringing, and it didn't feel good on your skin anymore. You'd be better just taking it all off, really. But I brought a change of t-shirt, and I just felt good then, so I could complete the last couple of events and feel more comfortable doing it. But what you wear is important. What you wear, whether it's going to make you sweat more, sweat less, feel heavy on you. You know, cotton can start feeling heavy. That can be a problem when you do sweat through it. So bring a couple of changes of t-shirt to the gym as well. And once you maybe do your first exercise, change then, and do your next one, and then change before your last one, and maybe have a change before you go home. It's a lot more washing, but it's a consequence of trying to deal with the heat. A few final tips and tricks you can do to cope with the heat. You could come to cross-functional fitness here in Warrenpoint and train in our gym, because it's always cool. Summer, winter, everything in between. It's always cool. We've got huge old concrete mixed with stone walls, lime, plaster. It's always cold. It's always nice and chilly in here. It feels like it's air conditioned, even in the winter. But aside from that, you might have to do a bit more of a rigorous warm-up. But yeah, you can come and train here. It's always cool. It's not like a shed. It's not like a greenhouse. On some days, whenever it's a moderate temperature and dry, we try to get outside and do a bit of training. But aside from that little plug, feel free to adjust your training program. Okay, maybe do fewer warm-up sets, like we said. Maybe take longer. Okay, take longer to complete your session. So rest more in between it. Scrap all like the assistance exercises, as I would call them. The isolation exercises, scrap them, get your main things in, get your main lifts in, and get home, get out of there. Other little tips are wear a hat. So if you're if you're going to be outside and you're running or whatever, you're training outside, you're cycling, you're running, whatever, wear a hat, wear something that's going to keep the sun off your head, because it can take its toll. Sunburn's not cool. The other night, actually, I went to do some front squats, and I didn't even realize I was sunburned until I went to put the bar on. Felt fine, did a warm-up set, did another warm-up set, started building myself up to where my working weight was, and then I got to a certain weight, and I was just like, ah! And the pressure on my skin, I just started ripping my skin. Not literally, but it felt like that. So it was worse than pain than any other squat I've ever done in my life. So I had a racket, and I thought, I'll try back squats tonight instead. I'll switch it up. Nope. I put the bar on my back, and again worked my way up to a certain weight, and then it just started like ripping my skin again. And it was just when I got to a certain weight. It wasn't the warm-up sets, they were fine. Actually, the cool bar felt nice on it, but I didn't even realise that I had got a bit of sun until that moment. So I had to adjust it. I did power cleans, and I did bench press instead, which was a bit more tolerable for my skin that day. So there's all sorts of ways you're going to have to cope with it. But yeah, wear a hat, keep the sun off you, baseball cap, whatever. Cover up as well, so you don't get sunburnt like this Egypt. But yeah, don't if you're used to doing like sort of high reps, try and keep it to a minimum and rest more. Okay, so keep the intensity up, but try and rest more in between. So you're still going to be making use of your session and your program, but you're not going to be in the gym, hanging about longer than you have to be. The other consideration is think about your training time. So you might have to train later in the evening or earlier in the morning than outside of your normal window. If you like me to train during the middle of the day, whether it's lunchtime or mid-afternoon, you might want to think about training at a different time of the day, in the cool of the evening or the cool of the morning, just to get around that. So hopefully those are helpful for you. If you have any other thoughts, if you think I've missed anything, if you think I've given bad advice, I'd love to hear from you. So last Saturday, as I mentioned, a few of us were up competing at GEHQ Gym in Ballymoney. My friend told me about this event they were having about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. He sent me a message in, would this be your type of thing? And I said, yes, it would. And I'd shared it in our members' Facebook group. Nobody was biting. Started hinting at a few people who I thought might enjoy it. It's called a tactical game, so there's a bit of some tactics involved in it. It was basically a combination of strongman events and cardio, kind of CrossFit cardio. So neither of which are my wheelhouse, neither of which I would say I'm very good at, but I like the challenge and I like the idea of the mixture of the two things. So I'm kind of pretty average at both of those things. But I thought I'd give it a whirl, and I got a friend from Portadown doing it. He talked his friend into it. Got another friend, and one of the guys in the gym, David Crawwell, got him doing it as well. So we all went up there, green as you like, and we half the guys didn't even know what the events were. Like, I was sort of like trying to piece them together, and we're trying to figure it out. But it was a good day out. They had 5 events. We got there about 9:15. Supposed to be there at 8:30. We were a little bit late. Kicked off at 10 o'clock, and then we kind of had an event pretty much every hour and a half. Finished up about 3:30 or so, and it was good. So the first event was a barbell complex. So you had to do a clean, whether it was a squat clean or a power clean. And then you had to do 2 front squats, and then you had to do an overhead press, jerk, whatever you could do to get the barbell overhead. So each of us had to do that and register a score. They added up our total. Whoever got the biggest total took the points in the event. So I don't think we won any events, but we didn't. There was only 4 teams in our category, and we came 4th, needless to say. But our team was kind of thrown together. It was sort of last minute, but it was a funny team. So me and David are about the same height, same build, and then Denver and Stephen, they're about the same height, same build. So it was an interesting competition. I think overall the events being bigger and being heavier, being stronger, was to your advantage, because even the cardio aspect of it wasn't really that demanding. If you were like, I haven't done running for about 2 years. I had to do an 800-meter run for event 3. Sorry, I tell you event 2. Basically 2 of us had to run up. One of us had to grab a yoke, which was 160 kilos. The other had to grab 2 farmers walk implements and carry them, run with them up to the far end, 20 meters away. And the farmers carries were 60 kilos each, which is hefty. It's a big lump, and our two of our guys like barely weighed 60 kilos. They probably weighed like 75, 80 kilos maximum when they're wet. So we had her up then far end with those, then dump them, jump on a rower and jump on an echo bike, and we had to hit 30 calories between us. So we had a bit of a game plan with that one. We thought we would do more calories the first guys out of the blocks, because the next guys, they had to do the cardio equipment and then do the carry back. So we didn't want them being absolutely wrecked going under the heavy implements. So I did, I think, 18. The other guys probably did something similar, and then give the other guys a little bit less to do on the rower and the echo bike. So a couple of issues. I think I set the yoke a little bit too high, so whenever I lifted it, I was a little bit behind lifting it as well. I wanted to get the placement right. I lost a few meters on my competitors for that, but I think I caught them up on the row. But I think it just felt a little bit high, so it felt like it was sort of, you're in your tiptoes, you're having to shrug it up to get it moving, to keep it off the floor. So that was my mistake, rookie mistake, as they say. And then we had a bit of an issue. We're trying to ground it, and we didn't get it right the way over the line. So I had to jump in and try and get that shifted all the way over the line. So we would have beat our rivals who were right beside us. It was close, very, very close race, great race, but we just missed out on that one. That was the second event. And then the third event was a 800-meter run. I think it was 8 minutes we had, 800-meter run, and then we had to do burpees over two bales of hay, two big round bales. So two of our guys are smaller, lighter guys. They went out of the blocks, they went out of the trap, something serious. And me and David hung back a little bit. So they got a few burpees in, then we joined them. And you can only work two at a time. So it was a burpee and a jump over the top of the bales. I hate burpees, but I think this was a pretty good leveler because smaller, shorter, lighter people, they tend to be better at burpees than me because they're closer to the ground, right? But also just the less mass to move, the less weight to move about. But I think the bales were a really good leveler. It meant that if you're taller, you had a bit of an advantage. It was easier to get over the top of them than if you were shorter. So I think that was a nice leveler, and it worked really well. It was the hardest one by far to recover from. I was busted from it. I was so sweaty, so tired. I think we all were, but that was the first one I found it difficult. The first two, I didn't really find too challenging. I'm going to jump back actually to the first event. So the first event, that clean, that complex, barbell complex, one of our guys hit a PB. He got 80 kg, which is his previous best was 77.5. Another one of our guys, he 2 attempts at 92, just couldn't quite lock it out, but he was so close to doing it. And then another one of our guys, he hadn't even done a clean before. He'd never done a clean until the warm up, so we were trying to coach him through it, and he learned how to do it in the warm up, and then he nailed it and smashed. He got 60 kg, which is fantastic. I was so delighted for him. But was a fourth event in? It was we had a 15 foot bar that we had to throw a 20 kg ball over the top of. Sounds simple, right? So we had to do like a bit like a kettlebell swing. That was a technique that I approached it with, and went for it. We had a few issues with it as a team trying to get it over. We had to do 10 attempts, and then in the remaining time we had to get as many calories in the ski erg as possible. So unfortunately we took up too much time on the throws, and we only had about 20 seconds to get the calories on the rower, sorry, the ski erg. But yeah, it was good fun, and it was again one of those skill challenges that you don't know until you try it or how it's going to go, because it's very hard to replicate unless you have like a 15-foot bar lying about at home that you can throw something over. And then the final event, it was probably the most fun, and it's probably one we did best in collectively. So two of our guys went out. David and Denver, they ran down and they had to throw these awkward objects into a sled 20 meters away. So one was like a big rubber block. I don't know what it was, maybe 20-30 kilos. The other was like a 24 kilo kettlebell. Ran down, throw it in, and then had to run back and pull it with a rope. So they jumped into 2 tires and tried to pull it back up over the line. So once they get over the line, then me and Stephen had to run down, grab 2 tires, throw them into it. Not just tires, or wheels, there was rims and everything in them. Throw them in. So I'm guessing it must have been like 150, 200 kilos total weight of it. It's heavy enough. It was enough to kind of tire you out over 20 meters. So we started well, got a good heave on first of all. Actually, no, before that, we were going head to head with this other group, and whenever Denver and David got into the tires, they gave a big heave and they ripped the rope right off the sled, and they were just like, oh no. And the crowd, everyone was annoyed, everyone was frustrated, so they had to let us do it again, but we didn't have anybody to go head to head with. But it was a good event, good experience. Stephen and I got it across the line. I started sprinting away. I thought I had to sprint over the line, but great event. That's my kind of shortened view of it, overview of it, but it was great crack. And the reason I'm telling you all this is it was really, really good fun. I haven't competed in a very long time, like 6 or 7 years, and it was an individual competition I did before, and it was an intermediate one. It wasn't like high profile. It wasn't like you were going to win money or anything like that. It wasn't for fame or glory. It was just a good challenge. And sometimes that's the thing with competition. It's not about trying to be really, really super competitive and win, but I kind of wanted to try this, and I talked these other guys into doing it. They were up for it. It probably wasn't their wheelhouse, like I think they'd be better at gymnastic movement, especially Stephen and Denver. David's pretty good all around. His running's good, longer distance endurance stuff he's incredible at. So it wasn't in their wheelhouse. It probably was more in my wheelhouse overall, but I was so impressed with those guys that they wanted to give it a go and they wanted to do it as well, even though it wasn't the thing that they were best at. So massive respect for them, and they did so good. Super proud of them, and it was a pleasure to be a part of the team with them, and hopefully we go again next year. and I can be a bit stronger next year, and we can all improve before then. But that's the thing with it. Sometimes it's not until you put yourself out there and you do something that's a bit uncomfortable, a little bit unnerving, and facing the unknown, that you can really grow and you can force yourself into those uncomfortable positions so you can see how you react. And you can kind of go, you can kind of throw yourself in there and be left exposed, and just to kind of go, am I out of my depth? And if you're out of your depth, trying to figure out what to do, how do you react in that moment, just do your best, you know. Some people said to me, oh, I don't know how you do that, like stand in front of people, and I wouldn't like doing that, like stand in front of people and performing and having to do all those things. To be honest with you, I never thought about anybody watching. There was a decent crowd, it was class, it was a nice atmosphere, but I never thought about anybody being there or watching until whenever they called their name out as a team to had to go up and start the event, or whenever it was immediately over. Those are the only two times I ever thought about people were watching me. Whenever you're doing the event, you don't think about it. But yeah, the reason I'm telling you is like I want people to kind of look at that and listen to that and go, I could do those. What's he talking about? He's not that special. I could do that. Because you can. That's the beauty of it. I would love like loads of people in the gym from this gym came and started doing more competitions, just pushing themselves a bit more and trying to see what they're capable of. Because I know we've got some incredible athletes here. I know we've got some incredible competitors, and some of them don't think they're that special. Some of them don't think they're that gifted. But they've trained hard. They've worked hard. They've gotten themselves to the point where they're strong enough to be competitive and to do a competition like that, and just to turn the screw a wee bit in their competitors. But it brings out a strength in you. It brings out like a qualities in you and your friends that you didn't know that you have. There's something cool about a team event as well. It felt less nerve wracking. It felt like you could rely on each other and rely on each other's strengths, and they can cover your weaknesses and vice versa. So I would encourage you to try and set yourself challenges, enter competitions that you don't feel particularly prepared for, because it's a good way to prepare yourself. Now, I haven't done any running or cardio to speak of in about 2 years, but all I've done is strength training. And I know it wasn't very heavily cardio balanced, but it was enough. The strength training was enough to get me through it and do okay at it. I wasn't immaculate, I wasn't amazing at it, but it got me through. So I think with a bit more planning next year, I would do a bit more cardio, I would do a bit more stuff aerobically. Not that I think that competition's ever going to be swayed heavily in that direction. There's other competitions that might be, and I might need to do a little bit more that way. But all I'm saying is I hope people listen to this, and I don't really care too much about what people think of me. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I don't really care, but I do care what people think. I want people to think that they can do that they can be a competitor, that they can compete, that they can get stronger, that they can improve, that they can change whatever situation they're in, physically, emotionally, mentally, career-wise, whatever. But I want you to come away thinking that, and that's kind of why I wanted to share this, and why I shared about it on Instagram and Facebook and stuff as well. So yeah, find a competition and enter it, guys. Just do it, because it's so much fun. You make friends. There's such a good atmosphere. There's some really friendly guys up there. We've got some new friends up in Ballymoney now that we can drop in on if we're calling past as well. But it was an intermediate competition. It wasn't like an elite one or an RX, as they say in CrossFit. It was an intermediate one. It wasn't the pressure was off. Put it that way. It was a bit of crack, and that's the thing with competitions. You can enter different levels, and sometimes it's a good thing with CrossFit competitions. You can enter different levels, and we knew about 3 or 4 of the events before we went into it, but we didn't know the 5th one, so it was kind of cool turning up the day and hearing exactly what we're going to be doing on the day. Couldn't prepare for it. All we had to rely on was what we'd done in our training beforehand, and hoping it was enough to get us over the line. And funnily enough, the 5th event probably went the best for us overall. So yeah, hopefully that encourages you to enter a competition, whether it's powerlifting, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's strongman, whatever, a race. Races are pretty popular, but enter it, put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone, and just push yourself a little bit, because you will develop a strength from that, and you will grow, and you'll see what you're made of. So I've probably talked too long, so I just want to finish off with talking about holidays. I used to, whenever I was younger and I was trying to get stronger and bulk up and stuff like that, as you do when you're younger and you want to put on more muscle, I used to freak out and went on holidays, and I was used to, need to find a gym, need to do training, need to do this, need to do that, and I'd really worry, I legitimately worry about, I've said legitimate a lot in this podcast, this episode, I need to find a new word, but I would really worry about not being, about losing strength, losing gains and stuff. And they're not completely unfounded fears. I mean, there's no need for it, but that can be a thing. Sometimes you can feel like all your fitness is going out the window as you're lying up on the beach and feeling guilty. Listen, don't feel guilty. I know it's easy for me to say that, but don't feel guilty about it. If you've put in the work the other 51 weeks of the year, you don't need to feel guilty about anything. You go on holidays, you need to enjoy it. Especially after the last couple of years we've had to endure. Enjoy your holidays, enjoy the sunshine, and don't worry. The gym will be here when you get back. Training will be here when you get back. Now, there's some things you can do. Obviously, don't drink the head off yourself completely. Don't injure yourself. Don't get stupid tattoos that are gonna be sore and gonna have to get infected and like. Sorry, I sound like your parents here, don't I? But there's certain things you can do, like make sure you're eating plenty of protein, staying well hydrated, all that stuff. But don't worry about not training. Go for walks if you want to. Keep mobile, do a bit of mobility, do those sort of things. But don't worry about not lifting weights for a week or two. If you've been training hard for a year, you deserve the holiday. Your muscles will enjoy the rest. Your joints, ligaments, tendons, and your mind will enjoy the rest as well. But that's basically all I have to say on it. So don't worry. Go on holidays, enjoy it, and the gym will be there when you get back. And we're going to move on to our news of the week segment. So this one's maybe a couple of weeks old, but I don't know why, but Google has offered this to me, and the Google News feed it gives you on your phone. It doesn't Android anyway, but it's from stylist.co.uk. I promise I don't visit this website very often, and I only went on it because Google suggested it to me. So the fitness aspect grabbed me. So the title of it is Fitness Progress. Is it time we stop trying to be faster and stronger? Posted by Chloe Gray. So it might be time to stop trying to run faster and lift heavier. Is lifting heavier or running faster the only form of progress you count in your workout routine? It's understandable if so. A lot of messaging in the fitness world is that our worth comes from our physical ability. But what if there were other ways to measure progress that aren't about speed or strength? So the title is, like, as these things tend to be, it's quite eye-catching, it's quite attention-grabbing. But the first paragraph kind of sets a nice precedent. It obviously kind of overthrows your immediate presuppositions based upon what the title of it is, and makes you question, are there other ways to measure progress? And of course we know there are. I think having that, like, it's such a clickbait title, isn't it? Is it time we stop trying to be faster and stronger? Of course it's not time we stop trying to be faster and stronger, because we progress, and then we dip, and then something turns up in life, and then we have to try and overcome it. We get an injury, a woman has a baby, or whatever, a bereavement, something happens, and then we stall, we get a knock or a niggle, something happens, we get a promotion, we get a new job, we move town, whatever. There's always things that are going to set us back. Sorry, I'll get back into it. While keeping note of the number on the barbell might be less toxic for people than, say, tracking the number on the scale, it can still feel like a big burden. I disagree with that entirely, because it's only toxic in your mind. You make it toxic. The barbell's an inanimate object. Okay, tracking the number and keeping a note of it is important for training. It's incredibly important. Otherwise, you're just messing about, or otherwise you're going by feelings rather than by what the actual weight on the bar is, which is a problem, because our feelings lie to us, as we've discussed in another show. Just the other day, a friend told me she had given up chasing a new PB when running. Surprising, given that she was the sort of person who would complain about feeling defeated when she didn't run as fast as she had planned. But she told me that the pressure had been ruining her workouts. The expectation of shaving seconds off her 10k time every week made her resent the runs, particularly as she was never meeting that goal. Instead, she realised that she just wants to exercise because it feels good, rather than making it something she has to continuously improve. I think it gets to that point though, right? You get to a certain level of strength, you get to that certain level of aerobic fitness where you if you get a PB, it's every few years, it's not every few weeks. And thinking that you're going to have a new personal best every week is just, it's fantasy. It really is. And it's important to manage those expectations, because whenever you're training with someone who's brand new and they're smashing the PB, and maybe they're genetically gifted and maybe they've gotten faster than you already, it can be really demoralising and really defeating. But thinking that you're going to smash your 10k every week, it's insane. It's insane. So it continues. We may live in a goal chasing world, but the truth is that always improving is really, really hard. Correct. That's particularly true for those who have been exercising for a long time. We all experience newbie gains, the quick progression you make at the start of your workout journey, but after that it takes a lot of effort to improve your performance. Yep, just literally what was just said, right? The science backs this up with a study published in Sports Medicine showing that there's less pronounced muscle protein synthesis, the process involved in building muscle, in those who are experienced exercisers than in those who are new. It means making fitness improvements gets way harder the more you work out, and you have to work harder at it. That might mean more sessions, more exertion, or just a lot of effort going into making a smart workout plan. Many of us don't have the time or energy right now, so does that render exercising pointless? Not in the slightest, because we stop seeing progress as only getting stronger, faster, or more muscular, then you can notice all the other ways you're getting better. Progress can look like an improvement in technique, a deeper squat or a safer lunge, even if you're not using any heavier weights. It can also mean fewer aches and pains in your everyday life, like your back hurting less at your desk. You may have noticed less anxious periods over the last few months, even though your 5k time hasn't improved. Or you might be like my friend and suddenly notice how much you're enjoying your sessions, even though you have not been measuring changes in your fitness. Seeing the benefits of exercise outside of what we're told is important might be the most freeing thing you can do this summer. So all in all, that's a great article. I think that's a really good article and surprisingly good. But some good advice. There's all sorts of ways you can measure progress, and we keep emphasising this. So a lot of clients at the start when they're trying to lose weight, all they think about is the scale weight. But I want them to think about other ways to measure it. So whether their sleep is improving, whether their energy levels are improving, whether they are their appetite is better, they're not always hungry. Maybe they are recovering faster from workouts. Maybe their body fat has come down, their body composition. Maybe their waist measurements are less, their circumference. Maybe they're fitting in their clothes better. Maybe they feel more confident. All sorts of things. There's just all sorts of ways that you can measure progress. Maybe you're getting up and down the stairs without assistance if you're older and you're lost a bit of mobility, and then somehow you gained it back from doing strength training. There's all sorts of ways to measure progress. I had a client one time, keep talking about him, but Paul, and he came in on a walking stick, and within a few weeks he didn't need the walking stick anymore. His knees stopped hurting. He was able to do things independently again. So there's all sorts of ways you can measure progress, and don't just think about more numbers on the bar. Don't just get into ego lifting. It's really easy to do in your early days, and especially when you're younger, but don't just do ego lifting. Think about your form, think about how the weight feels. Does it feel heavy? And then aside from that, just making sure that you're doing all you can do to maximize your progress, like the things we always talk about: eating enough, sleeping enough, all of those things. Make sure your form's on point, make sure you're doing enough warm-ups, resting, blah blah blah. We talk about it all the time, but you can get a very long way, and you can get to a very high level of fitness, of strength, aerobically and otherwise. You can get a very long way before you start seeing your progress stall. So make the most of that window. If you're a newbie, make the most of that window of opportunity. Enjoy it, enjoy the ride, enjoy the progress, but prepare yourself, because it does slow down, and you just have to prepare yourself for that little bit of a bump to your ego. And our next story is from Sky News. Oh, you're not going to like this one. You're really not going to like this one. Men under 40 shouldn't have more than a shot glass of beer per day, new study suggests. I've ever had time to make myself unpopular. A shot glass if you're under 40. That's an interesting title, right? Researchers called for stronger guidance to warn younger adults of the health dangers posed by drinking, and said there should be tailored alcohol guidance to depend on the person's age and where they live in the world. The amount of alcohol that can cause health risks to people under 40 may be substantially lower than first thought. Excuse me, bartender, can I have a shot of beer, please? What? I dare you to try that this weekend. A safe daily limit for younger men is just one small 38ml shot glass of beer per day, a study suggests. Women aged 39 and under can have a little more. That's surprising. 2 tablespoons of wine or 100 millilitres of beer. The research is drastically at odds with guidance from the NHS, which recommends Britain avoid regularly drinking more than 14 units per week. That's equivalent to 6 pints of average strength beer or 10 small glasses of low strength wine. Excuse me, can I have a bottle of your finest low strength wine? So I'm going to stop ordering drinks. I never order drinks, as you can tell. I don't drink. But I thought I would share this story because it's kind of amusing for me because I don't drink, but really annoying probably for you if you do drink and you're listening to this. However, for those aged over 40, a drink or two can actually help ward off heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. I love that 40 is the cut-off point. Do you ever notice that in some of these studies, like 40 is the magic number, and then after 40 plus 1 day, you're good to go. And for over 65s, the risks of health loss from alcohol consumption are only reached from the fourth standard drink onwards. Fourth standard, so that again, that magic number. Researchers are calling for stronger guidance to warn younger adults of the health dangers posed by drinking, and said that there should be tailored alcohol guidance to depend on a person's age and where they live in the world. Oh, you're from London, you can drink a little bit more. Oh, Glasgow, fill your boots. Belfast, meh. Some 1.34 billion people are estimated to have consumed harmful amounts of alcohol in 2020, according to the analysis of drinking habits in 204 countries around the world. Hey, but at least didn't get coronavirus, right? Because we're all sitting at home drinking, right? Yeah. The study found 59% of those who drank harmful amounts were aged 15 to 39, and 3/4 of harmful drinkers were men. They said alcohol provides no health benefit in people aged under 40 and poses risks including injuries related to drinking or car accidents, suicides, and murders. Not surprising. Senior author Dr. Emanuela Gadikau, I apologise if I've screwed up your name there, Dr. Emanuela, Professor of Health Metrics Sciences at the University of Washington School of Medicine in the US, said, "Our message is simple. Young people should not drink, but older people may benefit from drinking small amounts." How strange. How strange. Once you get the age. So the age limit's going to be raised to 65. Is that correct? Or 40. 40 depending on how you interpret this data set. While it may not be realistic to think young adults will abstain from drinking, we do think it's important to communicate the latest evidence so that everyone can make informed decisions about their health. True, I agree. Good point. Researchers looked at the risk of alcohol consumption on 22 health outcomes, including injuries, cardiovascular diseases, and cancers, using 2020 global burden of disease data. They used the information to estimate how much alcohol a person can drink before taking on excess risks to their health compared with someone who does not drink any alcohol. They have found the level of alcohol that can be consumed without increasing health risks rises throughout a lifetime. That's crazy, isn't it? It's like you build up a tolerance to it or something. You could think like your organs would become less tolerant of it, wouldn't you? They find the level of alcohol consumed without increasing. That's crazy. This is driven by differences in the major causes of death and disease burden at different ages, the authors wrote. Any level of drinking leads to a higher probability of injuries, while small amounts of alcohol decrease the risk of some conditions prevalent in older adults, such as ischemic heart disease and diabetes. So yeah, bit of a bummer, that story, right? Just at the weekend. Nice timing, Stuart. But yeah, what do you think of that one? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And our last news story is from SciTech Daily, and this one was on the 7th of July, but I haven't been here for a week or two, so you might have missed. So we have missed it. So it's called Slim but Powerful: How to Build Strength Without Bulk. Bodybuilding is a popular form of body modification, especially within the United States. Bulking up and building a body that looks as though it was chiseled out of marble to resemble an Incredible Hulk is the goal of some, but it isn't ideal for everyone. Having a bodybuilder's physique isn't necessarily healthy regardless of how it looks. Some cultures, such as Asian and some Middle Eastern ones, typically find it unattractive, preferring something slim but powerful. Some people don't like it just because they find that such a body hinders functional strength and flexibility. Indeed, many martial artists try to avoid having a massive lumbering body. Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan both designed workouts meant to increase functional strength while still leaving them slim and fast enough to perform their martial arts and stunts. Bruce Lee did try bulking up for a while, but found that it slowed him down and made him too large a target, so he focused his energy on building strength without mass. So how do you do it? First of all, it's not incredibly difficult to gain strength without mass. It takes specific diets and supplements to achieve a bodybuilder's body type. Just going to the gym isn't going to make you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Hulk Hogan, so you can leave those fears aside where they belong. This is true for both men and women. After all, gymnasts are the strongest athletes per pound anyway on the planet, yet they're very slim. Well, actually, I don't know about that. If you look at some of the guys, like their shoulders are like absolute like cantaloupe, like watermelons. They're huge. the huge upper bodies, generally their legs aren't as big if you look at them. And I'm not sure that they're the strongest athletes on the planet. As we said before, we keep going back to what is your definition of strength. If your definition of strength is as it should be, which is the ability to apply force against an external resistance, then no, it's not. They've a lot of muscle stamina, they've got muscle endurance, because they can perform the routines over like the course of a minute, but that's different from strength. Strength, get them under a barbell, get them squatting, get them deadlifting, get them pressing, and then pulling and seeing what is the total weight that they can do those things with, because otherwise you're measuring something completely different. You've got a different definition. So continues here. You will gain some mass, that's inevitable as your muscles grow, but you still won't find yourself looking like the Macho Man Randy Savage. That's probably lost in those people because nobody knows who that is anymore. Look at the physique of Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee versus that of David Tennant or Johnny Depp back in his Edward Scissorhands role. Both of men are slim, but Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan have slightly bigger muscles. The best exercise for strength without bulk. The following are some of the best exercises for building strength. Remember to stay safe. If you feel any pain, not burn, that's different, or discomfort, stop immediately. Pain is your body's way of warning you that something isn't right, and you can easily suffer injury if you persist. Squats. So the strength squats are one of the best ones. Burpee. Burpee's not one of the best ways to build strength without bulk. Okay, this next one's rotating sit up, and then clean and press. Pull over, curls, bench press. Okay, I'm not even going to read any more of it, but let's go back to the original topic, which was slim but powerful, how to build strength without bulk. Okay, a couple of principles we need to talk about here. You cannot get bulky without a surplus of calories. You could train like a bodybuilder, like a powerlifter, like whoever, and you would get stronger up to a point as long as you're sort of eating maintenance calories. So if you need 2,000 calories a day to sustain you and your current size, weight, age, activity level, 2,000 is your magic number, and you're hitting that more or less every day, you will get stronger up to a point. You will hit that point sooner if you've been training for a while, maybe a different type of training, but you will hit that point pretty quickly. If you keep eating and you're in a surplus of calories, you will hit that point much further down the line, but you will also get much stronger. And you will put on more mass, you put on more muscle tissue. Okay? Calories in versus calories out is a huge determining factor in this. And this is something that is especially lost on women, because women think that weights make them bulky. And again, I'm generalizing, stereotyping, because this is just what I come up against all the time. It's pretty frustrating because it's 2022 now, and we've known this for a long time, but weights are not the only contributing factor to someone, man or woman, getting bulky. Surplus of calories is that most determinant factor. And until you appreciate that, until you understand that, I'm banging my head off a wall, really. But you can get stronger up to a point without putting on bulk. I've done it before. I probably got to probably near my strongest whenever I was doing more of a CrossFit style training, and I was doing a lot of explosive movements. I was burning a lot of energy, a lot of calories. I was pretty lean. I was leaner than I am now, certainly, and I was also hitting some decent numbers and squat and deadlift and stuff like that. But my arms weren't bigger, my legs were maybe a little bit bigger, but they're probably full of glycogen. My arms, my chest, all that stuff wasn't bigger, certainly. So this is the case for lots of people. You can get stronger by limiting your calories, but you're going to hit your plateau. You're going to hit that point of no return. You can't get past a certain point after a very short space of time, because you'll hit that point really quickly, is what you need to know. As for the exercises that they suggest here, squats are great. Now they're a great way to build mass on your legs and your hips, and your back as well, make your back stronger. Burpee, I don't know what the point of that, if you're trying to get stronger. So it's back to, what is it? Build strength. Burpees do not make you strong. Okay, if you can do 10 burpees, like, you're as strong as you're ever going to be from a burpee. Okay, after that sort of point, you're going into muscle endurance, you're going into stamina. That's different from strength. Okay, so going back to what is our definition of strength? Rotating sit-up, again, it offers very little benefit from a strength perspective. Clean and press. Clean and press is a pretty good one. Again, the explosive nature of it is one which is going to expend a lot of calories in a very short space of time, and you can get stronger up to a point in that. Your squat and your deadlift's going to bring that up anyway, but yeah, certainly a really good option. Pullover, it's a waste of time. It really is a waste of time. It's another one of those ones that it's just people have too much time in their hands and they want something to do in the gym, so they start doing pullovers, which are an accessory movement. We've used them before in the gym here, but I've tried using them with clients, but it's whenever they're doing like a really intense program and lots of stuff to do. Curls, again, curls are a pretty good way to build mass because you're going to be doing lots of reps and you're going to be doing lots of sets. You're going to be overloading your biceps. So if you want your biceps bigger, do some curls, but you can get more powerful and stronger by doing things like pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever you want to call them. Bench press is another good one. Again, it's a pretty decent way to put mass in your chest, on your triceps, a little bit in your shoulders as well. But it's definitely a good way to get stronger. So finish off here. So feeling the burn is normal. Feeling some minor aches or cramps in the muscles is normal too. However, any pain means you should stop. Try reevaluating how you're performing an exercise, move on to a new one. So it's all kind of like common sense advice. It's easy to build functional strength without packing on a lot of mass, and by focusing on exercises that work multiple muscle groups at once, you can cut down on your workout time. That's true. So don't do pullovers or curls. Basically, do pull-ups and do bench press, do overhead press, do clean and jerk, clean and press, snatches. Olympic barbell movements are always good as well. Do some more explosive stuff, but be careful of what your definition of strength is there. If you want to be lean but strong, then obviously you need to do strength training, but you need to watch your calories. Those are the two biggest things. I keep going back to it, but it's so important and people need to get it into their head. Okay, joke of the week time. So I recently went shopping and I bought a sweater, and it was picking up static electricity. So I returned it to the store and they gave me another one free of charge. Okay, that's the end of another show. Thank you so much for joining me for another week. Hopefully I'll be back again next week. If you have any questions, do send them in to info@crossfunctionfitness.co.uk. I'd love to get back to you. I'd love to address it on the show so other people can learn as well and they can get up to date on it. Just a couple of things. We have our large group classes. We have a couple of free spaces, so they're on every evening from 6:15 to 7 p.m. There's total body toning on Mondays and Thursdays. Power class, which is weights based, no cardio, lots of rest in between, but lots of weights and barbells, especially on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then atomic, which is our HIIT cardio, no weights, nothing heavy. It's on at 6:15 on Wednesday and then 8:15 on Saturday morning. So we have available some drop-in sessions, or if you'd like to sign up for a subscription, we've got a couple of those available as well. We do also have some one-to-ones available on Mondays and Wednesday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. if you would like to sign up for those. If you need any help getting fitter, getting stronger, getting in shape, do give us a call because we would love to help you. So have a great weekend. Hopefully the sun comes out again and I'll see you next week.